Hi everyone. It's been a while since I've made a movie. I mean, a video, not a movie. But I wanted to talk about something, not something serious, because I have talked about serious things in the past, and that's kind of fun to talk about. I was in a movie. Now you're probably thinking, "Wow, you were in a movie. That's so awesome." But I just want to talk to you about it. I was in a movie called Moonrise Kingdom, directed by Wes Anderson, and Bill Murray and Edward Norton and um, Tilda Swinton from Michael Clayton. She played the White Witch. And who else was in the movie? I said Bruce Willis. I said them. I said Anyways, there was a lot of people in this movie. It was shot in Rhode Island, which is where I'm from. If you don't know that, but if you do, then I just told you again. But they shot it at this Boy Scout camp, and I'm no Boy Scout. And I remember being at a party, my cousin's party, and they said, "Oh, where was the movie filmed?" And I told them, they're like, "Oh, I went there when I was a kid because I guess if you're a Boy Scout, you always go there." But I never even heard of it before this. Okay, now you're probably asking me, how did you get this wonderful opportunity? Well, I'm gonna tell you. Um, I get these emails from this casting company that when movies come into Rhode Island, they put out a casting call asking for specific people for different things. Now, I usually read them and was like, this isn't a project I'd like to do. This isn't really interesting. Or I didn't fit the description, which likely happened. So I got this email, and it was like, oh, we're looking for kids ages blank to blank to be in this Wes Anderson movie. And I looked at Wes Anderson and I went, oh yeah, I knew he was making a movie in Rhode Island. He did the fantastic Mr. Fox, which was a good movie, it's a kid's movie, and I was like, is it going to be good? And I watched it, and it was my favorite movie. Animated movie, well, one of them. So I sent my email in, I said, I'd like to do this, and then a few days happened, and I forgot about it. And then my mom was on the answering machine, and the person was like, we'd like to schedule Dylan for a dress fitting or whatever. My mom was like, what is this all about? Because I didn't even tell her about it, but I just did it because I didn't think anything of it. I was not even going to do it, but all in all, I'm glad I did it. So I told her about it. She's like, oh, this is fantastic. This is awesome. So she called the guy back up, and they set up an appointment. We had to go all the way down to, I think it was Middletown, on the way, near Newport. So we went over the Newport Bridge, and if you have one of those fast pass things, you go right through. It's great. So we went there, and it was it after school that I went, or was it? Oh yeah, it was after school. I remember now because I had to dress up a certain way, like certain clothes I had to bring to JFK Middle School, elementary school, which is where it was. And we went in, and they had all these signs, places zigzagging you everywhere, and they handed me my costume and said, "Will this fit?" And it did because I'm small, and they they were giving us emails prior to that, like, here's where the fitting's gonna be and stuff like that. And then they kept saying like, oh, if you don't fit this kind of age, age, like weight range, then you can't do it. And my mom's like, oh, you do. So we went, and I got in these shoes. They said, get these kind of shoes. So we got in them, and they were like, they're too high. They had to like be lower. Like the thing was too high. That makes any sense. I don't really think it does. And they were like, oh, you have to get these other ones. So we actually, I got fitted and everything. They took my picture, and then we went to Walmart. There's a Walmart like everywhere. So there happened to be a Walmart down the street in Newport, over where the casino is. If you know where that is. If you don't, then it doesn't really matter. But yeah, we went in, and we were looking over. We asked if they had these shoes. They were like, oh, do you have any Converse type shoes? And we're like, gosh. But they had them, and we bought them, and we brought the other shoes back to the other store. So I had to miss a few days of school, and I hated every second of missing school because you kind of feel guilty. But I was working, so it really wasn't as guilty. So my first day of shooting, or of getting there, was horrible. It was the worst day of my life. Because we got there, and it was the day where everyone who's in the movie goes, and there was over 100 people. So we get there, and we didn't know what to do, so we had to get there, we had to get our voucher, and we had to sign the voucher, and I had to get in this line with about 100 people. I had to go through the line. I had to hand the lady my voucher, and she would tell someone else look for so and so's outfit because it was labeled. So they got my outfit, and then I had to wait probably another like half an hour just to change because the fitting rooms were not as fitting for me. And then finally I change, and then you'd have to go back and get like your you know accessories, which mine was a hat. So some days I had a hat, and some days I didn't. And a bunch of kids. And then we didn't know what to do, so we were sitting for a while. And then they said, "Oh, guys should come outside." So we came outside, and then they start picking you, random kids from different groups. And mine was I forget what they called the group I was in, because I was the core group. Now I remember, because I was signed up to do like multiple days missing school. The best thing was I was getting paid, but I was getting paid kind of minimum because I didn't have a SAT card, and you need to have work to do a SAT card. It was a very tricky business. And then finally, some person came up behind me, "So come with me." And I was like, "Yes." So we went down this road, and they had this whole like camp thing set up, which was kind of cool. And I just remember they had these little tents, fake tents set up, and all I had to do was run like from one side to the other, past someone, or was it run? I think it was walk, maybe. No, run. It was run, and then it cut. So I was just in the background since I'm an extra, and that day was a weird day. And then there was more waiting, and I just remember, okay, we had to do another scene, and they gave us ponchos, and we had no idea what was going on. So they guided us to where this thing was set up, and they set up this rig. And we had seen them set it up, and it's like where fake rain comes down. So fake rain came down, so we had to go, and they had us in kind of rows. So I was in the third row from the front, which was good because I've seen on camera. And in front of me, I kind of shook a little bit, like a little girl, like. But Edward Norton was in the scene, and coming up, walking towards us, like in the back, was what's his name? I forget that, Bill Murray, and he was a lot older than I remember, of course, and he was wearing like a sweatshirt, and he wasn't in the scene, obviously, but then they told us Wes Anderson came out, and I was like starstruck because I was like, I'm meeting a Hollywood director. Not many kids my age get to meet a Hollywood director, especially going to Narragansett where basically nothing happens. He came out, directed us on what to do. We did a few practice things, and then they began. And I had a poncho on, and then it started to rain, and kids were like, ah, and they were like, shut up, shut up. But I didn't sorry about that music somewhere. I didn't complain once because I knew that this was an opportunity you don't get often. And it was a professional thing because you really have to be professional so the movie comes out good. And this director is doing this, and you really have to be focused. So it rained on us, and we had to like do something, I forget what, and then the rain stopped. And then we left, I guess, for a break. And then we came back, and it started to rain on us again when we were doing another thing. And then Edward Norton says, I think I can do that better. And we were just like, oh, you fucker. Just kidding. I didn't say that because I would have gotten kicked out, but you know what I mean. And then they called me aside. No, I think that all this happened before break. So we didn't go on break and then come back. It was before break, and we got soaked on a lot. Like, the first time I got soaked on, it wasn't bad, but then I was so, like, cold. They gave us these, like, blankets. They look like tinfoil, but they reflect off the sun to give you heat, which was good. I liked it a lot. And I just remember going back to that, and I knew, okay, we were going to get wet again. But then this lady called me over. She's like, oh, come over. And I was like, okay. She's like, oh, you're signed up to do, what it's called, archery. And I was like, oh, yeah, I was. So I had to hand back my poncho. And, just really, I had to hand back my poncho. And then I went with her and some other kid. Because my mom, she got an email. Does anyone know archery? I said, yeah, I've done it in school. I'm not the greatest, but I've done it. So she signed me up for that. And I just remember going off. And then I had to wait for, like, the longest time in the world outside. Because what you have to realize is that this whole movie business is about waiting around. Because they have to set up the shot and everything. It's really boring waiting. So I waited for about another probably 3-4 hours outside. Because I had to, before that, I had to go back to the costume people, and they had to, like, change some stuff on my costume, and then they had to, I didn't get as wet, so then they had to, basically, take a blow dryer and dry me off, and then they said, stay in the sun, you'll get dry. And then finally, they took us, we walked through the woods, this is all in the woods, because this is where this camp is, in the woods. So we went through the woods to where the archery thing was all set up. And they had these little slot things. And we all had to stand in one of those things. And they handed us the bow and the arrow. And he said, take the arrow, but don't pull it back. And then he's going to say something, and then you look at the screen. So look at him. So I did that, so I was like that. And then after we were done, Wes said, you know what, just pull it back and let it go. So I did, and I went straight into the ground. I was like, horrible. But I'm guessing that scene's going to be in. So then another day, we had, wasn't as many people, so I was thankful. And we had to, let me think. It wasn't that long ago, but I'm just thinking, like, what we did. Yeah. There was one day where we sat down and we waited basically 6 hours of nothingness because I wasn't doing anything. So I was waiting like 6 hours of doing nothing. And my mom was like, well, you could have gone to school today. I was like, no, I couldn't have because you have to be here. But the good thing is you're getting paid when you're not doing anything. No matter what you're doing, you're getting paid. So that was good. Then they called us to do capture the flag, which basically we never got to do. So we got that, and then I went, and they had this whole green screen. I call it a wall of the green screen setup. It was like really high, and then they had this little like cabin set, and this little like walkway where you walk up the stairs, you walk into the cabin thing. So, and they had tents set up. So I was near the tents in one scene, and what we had to do was run past something and say hi to someone and then walk on. It was weird. And then finally they said, why don't you go? And they had us lined up near the stairs. And they had the rig going up, and I was like, oh fuck, we're gonna get rained on again. And which we did. Oh, that day was so horrible. It was cold outside. It was a little rainy, and it was cold outside. And I just remember, even though it wasn't that long ago, I just remember them doing practice things, and then it started to rain, and he's like, action. So we had to walk up the stairs, basically, and then look in to the windows, basically, while this old fisherman type guy was talking like it was like an alert message thing, because there was a huge storm coming, and then they'd say, cut, and then Wes would say, okay, let's do that again. Let's do that one more time. And knowing Wes, if you know directors, we did it about 10, 20 times, raining constantly. I was mad, but I never showed. I was calm. But before we, this is the cool thing, before we shot that scene, Bruce Willis, I mean, not Bruce Willis, I would have loved Bruce Willis, Bill Murray came out of the tent, and he wasn't in the scene, but he came out, had this huge, like, raincoat on, and he was like, oh, better not mess up, guys, and I was like, oh, fuck. And he was talking to us, and I actually shook his hand. He went, oh, your hand's cold, and I was like, I know. Basically, I was like, duh, because it was cool. And then we did the scene where we got rained on, probably for about 10 minutes, and he was like, do it one more time, do it one more time.